earthquakes and a couple of cyclones while we're there. So that was exciting as well. But yeah, just traveling around the country, running training events, speaking in camps and churches, teaching people how to share the gospel. Had a couple of seminars cancelled, unfortunately, because of the cyclone had gone through places and people were displaced and had nowhere to go, and everything was chaos. With the cyclones. In fact, I couldn't even get through in the roads to some places. So, but overall, just a fantastic time. Got plenty of opportunity to train and equip people with the G7. It was great.
And one of our friends, Dave Mann, that you do a lot of work with in New Zealand, he's had a project getting the gospel into letterboxes over Easter. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Hope Project in New Zealand. Fantastic. Every year, I think he's been going 6-7 years now, every year he's been getting a booklet into people's mailbox. And sometimes he's done a booklet another time of the year as well. So, but at least once a year, which is just a fantastic effort for every home in New Zealand, reached with a booklet. Now, the booklets are sort of got some apologetics arm to it, like talking about, is God worth believing in? Is he worth exploring? Trying to get people to stimulate people to think about God and eternity and things like that. A little bit of a gospel message in there as well, terrific booklets, really well written, connecting with people today, good quality. A lot of talk about the history of New Zealand, and so a lot of people don't understand their history, or history's being revised, unfortunately, today. But it's the Christian missionaries that came in that had such an impact on New Zealand that formed it into the nation that it has today. The Treaty of Waitangi in New Zealand, for example, it's the only country in the world that's got a treaty. Often, people who colonised a country just came in and wiped out people, and there was all sorts of atrocities happened here in Australia and all around the world. But in New Zealand, when those atrocities were happening, the missionaries wrote to the Crown and they said, something's got to be done about this. This is terrible. And that's when, the treaty was initiated. And then Māori became citizens in New Zealand. They had the same rights as every other person, and they couldn't just be killed and with no consequences and that sort of thing. So there was protection given there. At one point, over half of Māori had become Christians because they heard the gospel, they responded, and then Māori missionaries went around New Zealand. But that transformation that happened, free education for all, Kate Shepherd bringing in the whole thing of, again, New Zealand was the first country in the world to have women voting. And so it was because of a Christian person who did that. But the whole ethos that we're all valuable before God, doesn't matter whether you're black or white, you're male or female, we're all made in the image of God. And Christianity is the great leveler. And a lot of people don't realise today is that the rights that we have, to free education, free health, for everyone to vote, all these sort of rights that we have were brought and fought for by Christians in the past. And so telling those stories is wonderful because people actually go, you know what, all these things we take for granted actually is because of a Christian heritage that we have. The Christian heritage, unfortunately, today is being bagged. We're the bad guys in society. And we're, like, you're a Christian, it can be looked down upon, but you just sort of ask some questions, all the rights and freedoms that you have today are because of Christianity. Naturally, they don't happen in a natural, culture. And
I'm curious to ask you about the Jesus Revolution, right? So there's a movie coming out soon about the Jesus movement, and
next week,
Pastor Greg Laurie, absolutely awesome. I've seen it; it's absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to
looking forward to seeing
get people to it. But you just got to think about the influence of New Zealand, right? You got Ray Comfort. You've got Stu Millar. You've got people like Phil Pringle. The Hillsong guys. You've got who else is there? Trevor Chandler. I mean, there's so many preachers. Phil Baker, who used to be in. So many great preachers I can think of.
Oh yeah, and good things come
out.
There was
a real move of God in the 60s and 70s. There, in the middle of the Jesus movement. Tell us, give us a bit of history of that. What happened? It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, it is amazing, and we've exported quite a few